KURINJI Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
KURINJI Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
Students, now in this video we are discussing factors affecting the process of photosynthesis. Now we are discussing. So this information NEET examination point of view important. Concentrate well. Now factors affecting the process of photosynthesis. So here you can take this video as a first video. Why? Because still a few more factors to be discussed on the photosynthesis. Now an understanding of the factors that affect of photosynthesis is necessary. So means here what are the factors involvement is there, or what are the factors or how they will affect the process of photosynthesis. First of all, it is a mandatory or it is a necessary information to discuss. Okay, now the rate of photosynthesis is very important in determining the yield of the plants including crop plants. So here the rate of photosynthesis. So how the process of photosynthesis going to be taken place, the rate of photosynthesis to be discussed or to be observed. It is very important to determining the yield of the plants including crop plants. Means here in all kind of plants, no, definitely suppose if the rate of photosynthesis is more, yield will be more. If the rate of photosynthesis is less, so yield will be less. So thereby here, so what is the point? The rate of photosynthesis or depending on the rate of photosynthesis, so we can find out or we can guess or we can come to know that the yield of the plants, even in crop plants also. So thereby the yield of the plants, so mainly depending on the rate of photosynthesis. Now the photosynthesis is under the influence of several factors. The rate of photosynthesis is influenced by there are different types of factors are there. So those factors, so for our convenience to study, so let us divide into two types. So one is internal factors, means which are there in the plants, internal factors as well as external factors. Okay, external factors. So there what are the factors which are there outside of the plants? External factors. So there the plant factors includes the number, size and the orientation of the leaves. Means here three terms, means number, size and orientation of the leaves. If the number is more, the rate of photosynthesis will be more, and if the size is big, rate of photosynthesis will be good. And suppose if the orientation is also good, means the rate of photosynthesis will be good. So thereby here the number, size, orientation of the leaves also playing an important role in a rate of photosynthesis. Later, mesophyll cells. If a number of mesophyll cells are more and here the chloroplast are more and the concentration or the internal concentration of the carbon dioxide is more, so at the time and moreover one more, the amount of chlorophyll, chlorophyll means green color pigment is there, no, the amount of chlorophyll also. So here there are different types of internal factors which plays an important role in rate of photosynthesis. Here sometimes they will ask us to identify what are the internal factors or what are the plant factors which plays an important role in the plants. So one more time so number, size and orientation of the leaves, mesophyll cells, chloroplast, internal CO2 concentration, the amount of chlorophyll, and likewise there are different types of plant factors plays an important role in a rate of photosynthesis. Later, the plant or internal factors are dependent on the genetic predisposition and the growth of the plants. So now here, so arrangement, now we have seen a number of leaves or the size of the leaves or the orientation of the leaves, as well as mesophyll cells, chloroplast, internal CO2 concentration, everything already that particular information will be there in the genetic level. So means because of the information at the genetic level, depending on the genetic level only, the plants and the leaves arrangement and the size of the leaves, even number of the leaves also depends. So suppose for example, according to our genetic sequence, our color, our height and our personality, how it is dependent, no? So likewise, what is the size of the leaves, or what is the orientation, what is the number, even mesophyll cells, the presence of chloroplast, everything is under the control of genetic predisposition. So thereby, what is the point now I am going to give you is, what are the internal factors? What are the internal factors which are playing an important role in affecting the process of photosynthesis? All these factors are playing important role according to the genetic predisposition. So this is a point here we have to understand mainly. Okay, so means here the genetic availability or genetic constitution or the genetic makeup only playing an important role in arrangement of playing of all these factors, or the importance of all these factors. Okay, so now external information, or what are the points that we can be discussed related to the external factors also one time particular. Now the external factors would include the availability of the sunlight, temperature, CO2 concentration and the water. So likewise there are even here a few we didn't mention. So one more time, availability of the sunlight, temperature, CO2 concentration, water, even oxygen levels also. Even oxygen levels also sometimes affect the process of photosynthesis. But so here I didn't write, but extra information concern, definitely I will give you that point. Ipo particular, as a plant photosynthesis, all these factors will simultaneously affect this rate. So means here, when the process of photosynthesis is going to be taken place, all these factors, sir, all these factors are not only external, sir, means no, internal as well as external. All these factors will simultaneously affect this rate, or its effect of affects the rate of photosynthesis. Now, when several factors affect any biochemical processes, okay, so means here some kind of several factors affect so any biochemical process or processes. So there, when the different types of factors involvement is there, no, there all kind of factors or all kind of factors should be involved accordingly. Okay, so I will not involve or I will not participate in the process. How many times I have to participate? Likewise, suppose if one particular factor is not involved, means the entire process will be affected, even though there will be a involvement of some other factors. Means suppose if 4 factors, so suppose for example 4 factors are required for example to the process of photosynthesis. Again, suppose one factor I don't have interest. Likewise, suppose if one factor involvement is not there at the time, even though remaining 3 factors involvement is there much more than the previous one, but there will not be a process of photosynthesis. I hope you understood. So that kind of a phenomenon only observed by the Blackman in 1905, and he was stated, or he was given one important statement or law, that is his law of limiting factors. Law of limiting factors comes into the effect. Now this states the following. So what is the law, or what are the main important points which are given by the Blackman's law of limiting factors is, if a chemical process, this important, if a chemical process is affected by more than one factor when its rate will be determined by the factor which is nearest to its minimum value. I hope you understood this, or otherwise one more time. One chemical process is there, that particular process is affected by more than one factor. Okay, affected by more than one factor when its rate will be determined by the factor which is nearest to its minimum value. Means here, for the process of, for example, photosynthesis educalam. So now it is here, even photosynthesis also physico-chemical process, no, in a starting video we have seen. So in chemical process there will be a more number of factors involvement. At the time, suppose one factor is not involved, means the factor it is there with minimal value or nearest to its minimal value. So at the time, what is happening? This factor which directly affects the process of its quantity is changed. Means here, because of the less involvement of the factor, so the entire process will be affected, or it has the capability to change the entire quantity of the photosynthesis. Now only I said no, 4 factors involvement is there, but there will not be, or there will be a less impact of the one factor. At the time, definitely the rate of photosynthesis will be affected. Even the quantity of the yield also will be changed. I hope you understood. So thereby here, what is the factor which is not up to the mark, or what is the factor which will have the less quantities in availability? That particular factor only now Blackman is saying as limiting factor. Limiting factor. One general example I will give you. Suppose we have interest on the non-veg. For example, don't mistake in this. So we have interest on the non-veg. Now suppose when we are going for one party, or like one treat, so first of all we will search, or we will focus on the non-veg. For example only, don't misunderstand this. So we will focus on that. So what are the sweets they are giving, we will neglect, and what are the vegetarian curries they are giving, we will neglect, but we will focus. So if they give, if they provide a non-veg more, I will feel happy. Likewise, when we are thinking about it, so suppose if they give very little quantity of the non-veg to us, no, we will feel a lot. I didn't ask remaining vegetarian sweets, everything I didn't ask. I asked only non-veg, but they didn't give this one. Likewise, how we will focus on the our interested dish, no? So likewise here also what is happening? Even though there are more number of factors are required, or present more and more. Okay, so here the process or the rate of photosynthesis also mainly affecting by the less quantity or less impacted one. Point you understood, So here, for example, there will be a availability of more number of factors abundantly, but the rate of photosynthesis mainly affected by the least quantity of a factor. So minimal value of a factor. Likewise, the rate of photosynthesis. So because of the least availability of the factor, how the rate of photosynthesis is affected now. So by this observation, Blackman's was proposed law of limiting factor. Law of limiting factor. Now let us start to discuss the one by one each and every factor clearly. Now, so light. We need to distinguish between the light quantity and light intensity and duration of exposed to light. So here somewhat information to be discussed. So that is information they are giving. So according to that one, or according to that information, what we have to discuss. So we need to distinguish, means what is light quantity and what is light intensity, and what is duration of exposed to the light. And while discussing a light as a factor that affects the photosynthesis, so definitely that affects the rate of, or definitely that affects the process of photosynthesis. And there is a linear relationship between the incident light and CO2 fixation rates at low light intensities. At low light intensity, so one more time pathama, at low light intensities there will be a linear relationship. If you move, I will move, if you not move, I will not move. Likewise, so incident light, the relationship between the incident light and CO2 fixation. Suppose if the incident light is a very less, CO2 fixation will be less. And suppose if the incident light going to be increased, the carbon dioxide fixation means the photosynthesis rate also will be increased. So likewise, the relationship between the incident light and CO2 fixation rates at low light intensity, so how it will be? So we will observe the linear relationship. Linear relationship means, now I told you, no. So if one is increased, second one automatically will be increased. So that is a point here we can highlight more and more. At high light intensities or higher light intensities, what is happening? Gradually the rate does not show further increase. Rate means any particular biochemical process or the photosynthesis does not show further increase. Sir, why sir here at high light intensities rate of photosynthesis must be very good? No, but why sir the rate of photosynthesis will not be increased furtherly means? So why? Because as other factors become limiting. Ipo light mattum jaasti avana, no use, no. Again light will be more, remaining factors, remaining carbon dioxide or some other kind of factors comes under limiting. Kammi davu. Limiting meaning kammi. So thereby when one particular factor is going to be involved more and more, because of the one factor, remaining factors may not reach the same quantity of the next previous one. No. So thereby, suppose one factor when it is going to be involved much more, at the time because of the more availability of one factor, remaining factor will be in limiting. Remaining factor will be in limiting. So these limiting factors may not come to the level of increasing one at the time. So all these factors will be under limiting. At the time the rate of photosynthesis will not be increased furtherly. So here in a light, no, suppose if at a high light intensities, the word for marandavenda, at a higher light intensities means here again light availability is more. So when the light availability is more means remaining what are the factors which are required to the process of photosynthesis automatically will be less only, no. So in that particular place also, or in that particular thing also or phenomenon also, the rate of photosynthesis will not be increased furtherly. Why? Because remaining factors comes under limiting. Next one, interesting to note that it is a light saturation occurs at 10% of its full light saturation point. This is another point. Interesting to note that it is light saturation occurs at 10% of its full sunlight. Okay, in a full sunlight nalli, so light saturation point occurs at 10% of the full sunlight. This is important. Sometimes in NEET examinations they are asking this statement directly. Next, hence, except for plants, except for a few plants which are there in the shaded regions and are there in the dense forest, so the light is rarely limiting factors. Except a few plants means here or the plants which are there in the shaded regions and the plants which are there in the dense forest, no pavam pardeyam ella time me light limiting factor da. But remaining means except these two members, no, remaining plants, if you see there, no, for remaining plants, no, light will be rare limiting factor. Appadana maximum kammiye agadu, but these two rendu mattu light will be the limiting factor. So this is nalla pathaka. Means here what is the point? Hence, except for a few plants in a shaded regions as well as dense forest regions, no, in that particular plants, no, definitely light will be the except them. So remaining members, no, light will be rarely limiting factors in nature. Okay. Now increase in incident light beyond. So even this point also important. Increase in incident light beyond a point causes the breaking off or breakdown of chloroplast and decrease in photosynthesis. That's why once we learn in pigments point of view, chlorophyll B, carotenoids, xanthophylls, so we will be taking them as accessory pigments, and these are all pigments who protects the chlorophyll A from the photo oxidation or photo bleaching. We learn adida idi. So enna point, suppose if the light intensity, incident light is increased more and more means, so that breakdowns the chloroplast, breakdown of chloroplast and the chlorophyll, and when chloroplast and chlorophyll pigments like a breakdown, then who will take the light and all. So at the time automatically the rate of photosynthesis decreases. So this is a major important points related to the light. Later, carbon dioxide concentration. Even carbon dioxide concentration also plays an important role. Even a carbon dioxide concentration, how the carbon dioxide concentration plays an important role means, carbon dioxide is a major limiting factor for the process of photosynthesis. The concentration of the CO2 very low in the atmosphere between the concentration of the CO2 very low in the atmosphere between the 0.03 to 0.04 percentage. This is percentage. So means here generally the carbon dioxide availability in atmosphere will be very less only. No. Suppose if the carbon dioxide levels are more, so we cannot survive. So that's you know very well. Later, increase in carbon dioxide concentration up to 0.05 means here the normal availability is 0.03 to 0.04. But if the carbon dioxide levels or the concentration increases up to 0.05, what is happening can cause the increase the CO2 fixation rate, means photosynthesis rate increase up to only 0.05. Beyond this, the levels can become the damaging over long periods. So here suppose definitely sir 0.05 photosynthesis rate or the carbon dioxide fixation increase increase panikalan sir, rate of photosynthesis increase appude think panavana, definitely it causes long impacts. So definitely it causes huge impacts definitely on the rate of photosynthesis. So thereby this particular point try to save in your mind. Later the C3 and C4 plants respond directly to the carbon dioxide concentrations. Even C3 plants and C4 plants directly they can concentrate or directly they will respond towards the CO2 concentrations. Already we have seen in a previous topic. So next point is at low light intensities. These two statements are important. At low light intensities, neither group C3 plants, C4 plants are there, no adida. So C3 plants and C4 plants will not respond to the so high CO2 concentrations. At low light intensities. At low light intensities, so light kami yarke at the time CO2 jasti yarkana no problem. They will not respond first. So that's why at low light intensities, C3 plants and C4 plants, neither group responds to high CO2 concentrations. Later, at a high light intensity, so both C3 plants and C4 plants shows increases in rates of photosynthesis. So thereby, what is the point? So there, in a low light intensities, so C3 plants and C4 plants will not respond even though the carbon dioxide levels are more. Likewise, in a high light intensities, both C3 plants and C4 plants shows the increases the rate of photosynthesis. I hope you understood. Up to here, try to remember in your mind. Still few more factors to be discussed. In the next video, I will give you. So watch this video clearly and carefully. So try to understand what is the information author giving us. So try to learn this information and be safe at home. Thank you.